Hari Om, Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. When we were studying English in primary school, we used to have to memorize proverbs. And interestingly, we've hardly ever used those proverbs in everyday life, but it was part of the curriculum, and so we studied them. And some of them have stuck with me. And today, the verse in the Hanuman Chalisa is related to the proverb, "Don't make a mountain out of a molehill." Hanumanji had this ability to become big and to become small. Sukshma rupa dhari siyahi dikhava, vikata rupa dhari lanka jarava. The verse in the Hanuman Chalisa talks about incidences in the Ramayana where he physically became big and physically became small. And some might think this to be superhero traits and fictitious. But the point here is not so much to judge that quality of physically becoming big or small, but understanding that in our personality, we have the ability to become big or small in a way that we can make a mountain out of a molehill. We do this by sometimes being very petty. Things in our lives that happen that are small. Somebody doesn't return a phone call. Somebody buys a friend a bouquet of flowers or a gift and doesn't get one for us. A change when given after having to pay something. Not that these things are insignificant, but they can be. And when they are, and we see them to be more than what they are, we're making mountains out of molehills. Statements even that friends make, family members make. We hold on to it too tight. They didn't intend it, but we hold on to what we think they intended. I've also heard the proverb in reverse, to make a molehill out of a mountain. And so taking something that's big and making it small. There was a very famous book called Don't Sweat the Small Stuff, where he spoke about everything is small stuff. And the only big stuff would be death. And as he continued in the book, he spoke about even death, when we truly understand it, is small stuff. And in the Vedantic sense, it would be just another change in life. So it would be also small stuff. So whatever we think is a mountain, we can make it into a molehill. There's a very cute story I heard about a pastor who was learning to ride his horse. And so he was doing a circuit training with the horse. And as he was doing so, once when he was practicing, he fell from the horse and he landed on the ground in excruciating pain. And he thought, oh dear, how am I even going to get back home? There's no way I'm going to be able to walk on this leg. I think I might have even broken something. And so he looks up towards the sky as though towards the heavens, and he yells out, all these saints in heaven, please help me get back onto my horse. A genuine prayer, call for help. But using whatever strength that he had within himself, he lifted himself and he threw himself onto the back of the horse. But he had gathered too much momentum and he fell on the other side. So he looks up at the heavens once again and he says, okay, let's do this again, but this time just half of you help me. What a great sense of humor to have even in his prayer at this time of being in pain. It could have been a mountain, but with a sense of humor, seen in such a different light. And so there are certainly things that deserve to be mountains, but if we choose to see them that way, it might be too stressful, too depressing, too daunting or scary. And it might help us to see it in a lighter sense. There are things that are worth seeing as molehills, but in our confusion, we see them as mountains. And it's not so much that there is a right or wrong, for there are certainly things worth standing for. Pujya Guruji Swami Tejamayana says very often, and he quotes it from somewhere, if we don't stand for something, we'll fall for everything. And also keeping in mind that sometimes if we stand too rigidly, we are easily broken. And so it's this very tricky balance of when to be big, when to be small, how big to be, and how small to be. And definitely each circumstance would be different. And more than thinking about it as right and wrong, we can think about it in terms of the choices we make and the consequences that they're going to have. And so I guess here we can borrow a lesson from Goldilocks, where it's not too big and it's not too small and it's just right. And getting to that just right is this constant balancing act that we do in life. In terms of our personality, in terms of our ego, and the importance we want is making it big, and the humility is making it small. In terms of fighting for causes that are righteous, we can be big and strong, or we can be meek. In terms of pettiness, we can become very stubborn and adamant, or we can let it go. How big and how small? Finding that balance is our everyday opportunity. Think about it.